Hey everyone, welcome back to Business Unlocked, the podcast where we make complex business topics simple, practical, and actually fun. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Ben. And today, we're diving into something that a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs ask about. How do you actually register a private limited company in Pakistan?
Yes, and honestly, when I first heard about this process, I thought, okay, this must be super complicated, tons of paperwork, government offices.
That used to be true. But today, a lot of it is done online. And that's exactly what we're going to walk you through today, step by step.
So, whether you're a first time founder, a freelancer ready to go legit, or someone who's just curious, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. All right, Ben, let's start from the very beginning. What exactly is a private limited company, and why would someone want to register one in Pakistan?
Great starting point. So, a private limited company, often written as PVT Ltd, is basically a business structure where your personal assets are protected. If the company faces losses or legal issues, your personal savings and property aren't at risk. The company is its own legal entity.
Oh, so it's like a shield for your personal finances.
Exactly. Think of it like this. If your company owes money, creditors can't come after your personal bank account. That's the beauty of limited liability. And in Pakistan, this type of company is registered under the Companies Act 2017.
That makes sense. So, what are the basic requirements before someone even starts this process?
So the minimum requirement is you need at least two directors. There's no maximum limit, so you can have as many as you want. And here's the key thing. Both directors also act as subscribers, meaning they're the founding shareholders of the company.
Two directors minimum. Got it. And where does all of this registration happen?
Everything happens on the SECP's LEAP portal. That's the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan's online platform. It's quite user-friendly once you know what to do.
Okay, so let's say I'm sitting at my laptop right now and I want to start this process. What's my very first step?
Your very first step is to create an account on the LEAP portal. You go to the portal, and it'll ask you, are you a Pakistani citizen or a foreign national?
And I'm guessing most of our listeners are Pakistani citizens. So what happens then?
If you're a Pakistani citizen, you select that option. Then it asks, do you have a CNIC or a NICOP? CNIC is for residents inside Pakistan. NICOP is for overseas Pakistanis. You select whichever applies to you.
And then comes the verification part, right?
Right. This is actually pretty cool. The portal is linked directly to NADRA, which is Pakistan's national database. So when you enter your details, NADRA verifies them in real time. You fill in your first name, middle name, last name, exactly as it appears on your CNIC, then your CNIC number, expiry date, and date of birth.
So it's not just a form you fill out, it actually checks if your info is real.
Exactly. It's live verification. You can't fake it.
Smart system. And what about the occupation field? I saw there are quite a few options there.
Yes, you'll see options like charter accountant, registered intermediary, corporate consultant, lawyer, freelancer, startup, and so on. But our recommendation for most people is to simply select business. It's the most straightforward option and works for the majority of cases.
Okay, so I filled in my name and occupation. What's next?
Next comes your mobile number. And here's a super important point. The mobile number you enter must be registered with your CNIC on the SIM.
Oh, so not just any number.
Not just any number. If your SIM isn't registered under your CNIC, the OTP verification will fail and you won't be able to proceed. So double check that before you start.
Oh, so not just any number.
Not just any number. If your SIM isn't registered under your CNIC, the OTP verification will fail and you won't be able to proceed. So double check that before you start.
2 minutes? Okay, keep your phone nearby. And then after the phone comes the email verification?
Correct. You enter your email address, and they send a verification code to your inbox. You get about 5 minutes for this one. And here's a helpful tip. If you don't see the email, check your spam or junk folder. It sometimes ends up there.
2 minutes? Okay, keep your phone nearby. And then after the phone comes the email verification?
Correct. You enter your email address, and they send a verification code to your inbox. You get about 5 minutes for this one. And here's a helpful tip. If you don't see the email, check your spam or junk folder. It sometimes ends up there.
So I've logged into the Leap portal. What do I actually do first inside the dashboard?
Great question. Inside the dashboard, you'll see options like Overview, Name Reservation, My Company, and so on. You click on Reserve an LLP/SMC/company name.
And what options come up from there?
You get 3 choices. 1, just reserve a name. 2, combine name reservation and incorporation, which means you do both in one go. 3, change the name of an existing company. For most new businesses, we recommend option 2, the combined process, because it saves time.
So name reservation and registration all in one? That's efficient.
Very. So you select that, proceed, and then the portal asks what type of company you want to form. You'll see options like LLP, SMC, private company, public company, Section 42, foreign company. We select private company.
And then?
Then it asks limited by shares or unlimited having share capital. For a standard private limited company, you select limited by shares. Quick proceed, read through the instructions they give you, and then you're at the name proposal screen.
Okay, this is the fun part. Picking your company name.
Exactly. You type in your desired company name and click Check Availability. The system will search its records and tell you if any similar names already exist. If it's clear, you're good to go.
And what if the name is taken?
Then you try a different name. Simple as that. Once you find an available name, you propose it.
Is there anything else you need to provide with the name?
Yes, and this is something people often overlook. You need to fill in the meaning and significance of the name. Basically, you explain why you chose this name and what it represents. It could be a brief explanation of what the name means or why it's relevant to your business.
So it's not just about picking a cool name. You have to justify it a bit.
Right. It doesn't have to be an essay, just a short, clear explanation. Once you submit that, you'll see first company name has been proposed successfully, and you move on.
All right, we've got our names sorted. What comes next?
Next, the portal asks for your business objectives. Essentially, what does your company do? You first select the sector. There are options like arts and culture, broadcasting, capital markets, chemicals, services, and more.
And let's say someone's running a consulting firm.
They'd select services as the sector. Then under principal line of business, they'd select the relevant subcategory. If you select consultancy services, the system actually fills in the business objective details automatically. Pretty convenient.
Oh, nice. The system does the writing for you. I like that.
Yes. Then you proceed to the company information section. Here's where you fill in things like your company's financial year, the company type, and importantly, the capital structure.
Oh, let's talk about that. Capital sounds complicated to a lot of people.
It's actually simpler than it sounds. There are 2 types of capital. First is authorized capital. This is the maximum amount your company is authorized to raise. Here's the good news. There's no government fee on authorized capital, so you can authorize as much as you want.
That's reassuring. And the second type?
The second is paid-up capital. This is the capital that's actually been issued and paid for. This is what the government fee is based on. And here's how it works practically. If you set the face value of each share at 1 rupee and issue 100,000 shares, your authorized capital is 100,000 rupees.
And the paid-up capital, where does that get entered exactly?
Good catch. The paid-up capital is connected to the stakeholders section. When you enter the shares each director holds, that data flows back and automatically populates the paid-up capital, so it gets filled in indirectly, which is why we'll cover that in the next section.
This sounds like one of the most important parts. Tell us about adding stakeholders.
Absolutely critical. When you click Next after the company info section, the system will actually warn you the total number of directors is less than the required minimum of 2, and no chief executive officer has been added. Basically, it's telling you you're not done yet.
So what do you need to add exactly?
You need at least 2 directors, 2 subscribers, founding shareholders, and 1 CEO.
Now, the good news is the same people can hold multiple roles. For example, one person can be CEO, director, and subscriber all at once.
Makes sense for a small startup where the founders wear multiple hats.
Exactly. So you click Add Natural Person, and it asks for the designation. If you're adding the founder, who is the CEO, you select CEO, director, and subscriber all together.
And then how do you verify who this person is?
You enter their CNIC number and click Search. If that person already has an account on the LEAP portal, the system will say, "We have found a registered user against this CNIC number in SCCP records." Their name, contact info, and CNIC number will auto-populate.
Oh, that's slick. And then what additional details do you add?
You scroll down and fill in their nationality, Pakistan, their occupation, and then the nature of directorship. Options include independent, nominated, executive, non-executive, appointed, and more. For most small companies, you'd select appointed.
And then comes the share information, right? This is where the paid-up capital comes in?
Exactly. You fill in the kind of shares, ordinary, class of shares, ordinary again, and the number of shares this person holds. So if you and your co-founder are splitting ownership 50-50 and your total authorized capital is 100,000 shares, each person holds 50,000 shares.
And if it's a 70-30 split?
Then one person gets 70,000 shares, the other gets 30,000. The system then takes all those share allocations and calculates the paid-up capital automatically. That's how it connects back to what we discussed earlier.
Oh, I love how it all ties together. And then residential address for each person.
Yes, you fill in their country, province, district, city, postal code, and street address. Once all of that is done for all your directors and CEO, the stakeholders section is complete.